All right, again, good morning. My name is Mark Peacock. I'm the Vice President, Chief Marketing and Communication Officer here at Lynxspring. Thanks for joining us on today's webinar on E2E, Lynxspring's OT data management platform and independent data layer. A few housekeeping items. Next slide, Parker, please. Yes, we are recording this webinar and we'll send you a link to access it for future use. For questions during at the end of the webinar, feel free to ask them and use the Q&A feature located in the platform. So today's webinar, we're going to cover several things. So the importance of data today. E2E want to give you a snapshot of what it is and what it's not. Then we're going to go into a demo and then review some of the options and availability on E2E, and then also some Q&A if we have time. So in addition to myself presenting and participating in the conversation are Terry Swope, CEO, Chairman of Lynxspring. From our Cloud Technologies Group, Parker Shute, who's Director of Software Development, and Charles Jennings, Software Developer on the E2E platform. So when we look at the importance of data today, in the built environment, data is no longer can be considered a byproduct. It's the foundation for performance, efficiency, and informed decision-making. From real-time operational insights, analytics, data is reshaping how our buildings are designed, operated, and how occupants experience them. By harnessing that data and making it meaningful requires the right approach, the right tools, and the right platforms. So when it comes to data, how has Lynxspring really addressed this? Well, we've made it efficient to use data. The key word is efficient because that's at the core of all of our solutions and offerings, efficient data. Through open interoperable solutions, edge to cloud, and our E2E data management and independent data layer platform, we are enabling organizations to unlock, normalize, and use building data across systems, applications, securely and efficiently and at scale. Next slide. So let's look at E2E, what it is and what does it solve. So joining me will be Terry, and we'll just be having a conversation to be able to explain this. At its basis, E2E is OT data management and a data layer platform for building in the building environment. Couple key things here is OT data. Remember, data is not just data. OT data is different. It serves as a single centralized platform to collect, model, manage, visualize all of that data, importantly in real time, from the multiple systems, whether they are connected or disparate, the equipment, the devices, all within a building. So what does E2E solve? Terry, you want to go ahead and talk about that?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm glad, thank you for taking the time today to go over the E2E platform. I'm going to back up just a little bit here and take a little time to tell you where E2E came from in the first place. 14 years ago, we had an opportunity to work with a major energy company to work with their demand response mechanism. Out of that came the ability to work with them to create an independent data layer to move energy data to their DRAS. Over the last 10 years of working with this particular company, the E2E platform started to take shape. We did a very extensive voice of the customer survey with a third-party analytic company years ago. And one of the issues that came out of that is data was becoming very prominent in the the cloud technology was becoming the forefront of where the data management was happening. And so over the last 10 years, one of the things that's really awesome about the E2E platform is its ability to normalize the data. Now, everybody talks about normalizing data, and that's fine and well when you know exactly how the data is written in the first place. One of the things that we found out very, very early on is that data coming out of a building is linear. It's really dependent upon the programmer that wrote the platform or did the building integration on how they do nomenclature. It's one thing to say it's an OAT, outside air temperature, or air temperature sensor, or Billy Bob sensor. So over the years, using the Haystack methodology that we have been involved with since their inception, we have further machine analytics of finding what those sensors are and normalizing that data, including the metadata stamp, along with the time and serialization. And the second thing that we found out from the voice of the customer was, where is my data? After going back and doing more research, what they were telling us is that they may have worked with ABC company and no longer desired to work with them, or they may want to work with XYZ company going forward. And they were always told that, hey, your data's backed up, it's yours, you can have it. But what they found out was it was proprietary and they couldn't use it. So one of the things that we have worked very, very hard is to normalize all that data into actionable data that can be used. And so it all becomes a relational database. The E2E platform resides on the web supervisor, the Amazon Web Services application, and that server belongs to the customer, whether that customer is you or it's your enterprise customer that you're working with, or you are the enterprise customer. It's yours forever. And what happens is that over 3 years ago, we decided, hey, let's make that accessible to everybody. The race was on with our big competitors as to what their cloud-based technologies were, and we saw the problems that they were having in being able to normalize that data. So to capture that data, they put boxes around it, and it's all proprietary. Ours is not. And so this gives you the ability to get that data out of the building, whether it's the Niagara data that you're working with, or whether it's BACnet, Modbus, MQT, REST API. We're going to talk about some of those other features as we go forward, but it gives you the ability to normalize all that data and use that data. Then what we did was we built a widget-based UI system so that you can sit there and see that data any way you want to, based upon how you drag and drop and save that experience. It is all roles-based, and so you can then parse that data however you want. But here's the cool part. The aha moment comes often when I'm talking to customers when we say, this is what we're not. We're not an analytic program, and we're not an application program. There are so many out there. We work with so many. IBM Watson is an example, Accenture, others. A lot of our customers have their own home-built on-prem application. So what we want to do is we want to be able to give you data in real time, allow you to parse that data and use it any way you want, or use any third-party application that you desire to do, and we can help you with that if you desire, and then be able to make changes in the future however you want. So I know that's really, really fast and going over, and I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end of this. But I don't want to delay anymore, get you up to where you can actually see where the sizzle works and the ability for you to manage your own data. I will say, and I know that Mark has this scheduled for a little later in the show, but there are the enterprise solution where it's owner direct and they manage their own system, or then also channel managed for customers that take on not only one customer, but possibly multiples. And we'll go over how that's done. So hopefully I didn't get too wordy there, Mark, but I'll hand it back to you.
Well, thanks. That's good. And again, we've had up on the screen just a good snapshot of what E2E is, and as Terry alluded to, what E2E is not. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and turn this over to Parker. And Parker, give us a deep dive demo of E2E in action.
Okay, let me get this thing brought up. Perfect. So just to kind of reiterate a little bit about what Mark and Terry were saying that E2E is, in the most simplistic layman terms, to understand E2E, it is the ability to collect data from all kinds of different data sources based around building automation or energy data. And then it is a data modeling tool that allows you to normalize data and tag data via Project Haystack. And then once you have that in place, you can do things with it. So things like pump it to analytics platforms, send it to for things like carbon-based emissions, or even this is going to be the beginning of your data model training set for AI. So a lot of times with AI, you need a clean data model that's been trained appropriately for that AI to function efficiently. And E2E gives you the power to do all that, while we've also stacked a couple options for visualization. So there's some dashboarding tools, some templates in the device manager, and I'm about to get into some of that from a very high level right now. So once you step into the E2E platform, this is your home page. This is all role-based access control. And from here, you can see that everything is segmented to your user and what that user should be able to see.
Parker, do you mind checking your visual? I'm not sure the audience is seeing your screen.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, let me reshare. I'm going to stop sharing. And thank you, Mark. Get this back up. Okay, how about now?
Yes, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. So this is role-based access control. Like I was saying, these would be all the projects that a user would have access to. There's many different layers of this. If you're an admin, you may see 80 projects. If you're a building owner, you may see only your building. This can be sectioned many different ways through the admin tools. We're not going to get into all of that today, but we'll do a brief touch on some of the admin and what that looks like. If you dive into a project, so we've kind of configured this demo for you guys here for the webinar. You have a few options. You come in, the first thing you're going to see on the left is your dashboards, your templates. There's a Haystack query bar, some tool sets, and then you'll have your device manager. The device manager was built for Lynxspring devices. We are considering and looking at potentially managing some other devices, maybe from like very simplistic terms, just to understand that you see them connected. And I'll step through that a little bit as well. But keep in mind that everything in here is customizable. Everything in here, you can basically do whatever you want with it. You can switch between views, you can move stuff around. And I'm going to show you a bunch of that right now. So as we dive through this, I like to start at the device manager. So here we have our device manager, and right now you can see that there's nothing in it. And one of the things that we want to show you guys is when you use the E2E connector, which we've built for our edges and for Niagara, how quick it is to be able to get that up. Mark, can you guys see my Pro Builder here? Or is it stuck on the other window?
It might be stuck on the other window.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have Pro Builder brought up with the E2E, and it should be showing you guys very quickly here. No. Okay. So this is what the E2E connector looks like from an edge device. Basically, these are just extensions that you add to points. You come in, you do some configuration. This is all using MQTT. It's very secure. This is all certificate authentication. There's a lot of stuff behind the backgrounds that you guys don't have to worry about. But for you, what you do is you add point extensions. You set them to their groups. There's all kinds of different polling groups and polling rates that you can use to set these up to push up to E2E. Once you have everything in place, I'm going to enable this. We'll press save. Give this a second to run. And now, if you saw on the first screen, there were no devices. Get this out. We're going to refresh. And that's how quickly you can start to push a device up to E2E. Literally within a matter of seconds, you have this configured, you have your point set up, you press connect, and now the data is being pumped up to the E2E platform. So here we have some information about the edge device. We know its serial number. We know the Niagara version. We know the make and the model. We have some concept of how many points this brought in. If I dive into this device, we see from the edge case here. Get rid of that. Oh, hold on. That's a second, guys. So we actually have from the edges some hardware information. We have these device points. So these are hardware metrics that you get out of our edges only. And that's because since we manufacture these, we have access to the operating system level. So you have some information about the voltage regulators. You have some information about the CPU on the device. We actually have an internal temperature sensor that sits inside of the housing, and you get some information about how long it's been up or the memory usage. The idea here is to have some metrics for the hardware that users can use to do things like if my device went online, go back and search through the historical data, try to figure out what went wrong. And when you centralize this, it should be able to reduce the amount of effort for boots on the ground if you can get into the cloud and then figure out what's wrong with your device here through some information on the hardware. The other thing that we have is we have the station points. So these are kind of your more traditional building automation system points. So these are your sensors, your set points, your commands, any kind of information that is traditionally tracked through a building automation platform like this, things that you might want to dashboard, things that you might want to run fault detection on. So they all run through here. And in the beginning, I said, this is a data modeling tool. So one of the things that you want to do in your data model is build your logical representation of the physical assets in the cloud. And one of the tools that we present for you guys to do that is this E2E mapper. So if I go to the mapping tool, what this does is this application is smart enough to know that I have a bunch of new records. They've not been placed into my data model. And I need to get them someplace so that I can use them, right? So this is how you take your points and you attach them to your site record, or you attach them to the appropriate equipment record. And the application is smart enough to know, I've got all these, they need to be put somewhere, and it's going to guide you through how to do it. So I'm just going to pick a couple things at random just to kind of show you guys how easy this is. The whole entire application, the concept is always going to be ease of use, ease of use. Haystack can get very complicated, and we don't want you guys to have to worry about that. We want to take care of the Haystack and the data modeling for you, and we're going to do that by giving you tools that are easy to use. So let me just grab a couple things at random. Okay, so I grabbed 4 points, and if I come over here, it says, do you want to create a new site record for these points, or do you want to attach them to a new one or to an existing one? We'll go ahead and attach them to an existing one. We'll select this. Again, it's now the application smart enough to know after site for us comes equipment. You may have a different setup. If this is a large building, you may have zones, you may have floors. The way that you establish that is customizable as well. And we can deep dive on that at a different time. But for now, site equip point is basically the Haystack standard. So we're going to say, let's go ahead and create a new equipment here. So we're going to call this, I'm just going to make something up, about demo equip. You need to set that to a site. Hit save. And here's your new equipment that we just made. We'll select that, run the mapper tool. And now those records have already been mapped into your navigation. So back on the project screen here, when you're at the site, if you were to dive through this, just to show you that this worked. And here we have some NOAA data. We'll go over that. We'll find that demo equipment that I just made. I made it our demo equipment. There we go. So that's how quickly you were able to take through the application's user interface and map these data to the navigation. So the next thing you want to do in your data modeling tool set is tag those records. Of course, again, we do this through Project Haystack. So we have this tagging engine. back to ease of use, right? We want you to be able to tag stuff quickly and efficiently, and not only quickly and efficiently, but correctly. So the point of Project Haystack is to get to the point where data interoperability happens between systems. That can only happen if everyone uses Haystack in the correct manner. So we take a lot of time on our side to make sure that our data tagging process and the way that we model data is up to snuff with the Haystack standards. And that keeps the onus off of you guys from having to do that, because it's, again, very complicated. But so let me kind of just show you how quick this works. Here we have Point Not Proto. So for us, Proto is a database that we put together of predefined Haystack tag sets. That's the most simplest I can put it. We're going to run this on the display name for all the records that have not been mapped already to a Proto. We run the tagging engine, and very quickly it's picked up all of these different Protos. So these are all the appropriate Haystack tags for these records that you would want to apply for you to go ahead and enable those fault detection, for you to do that data annotation for your AI data models, for you to use your dashboards and all the other visualization tools or analytic tools that you might need. And then basically you can either select all, you can go through here and fix the one that you want, but you can see here that we've picked up a pretty good set. You run save, and that's it. So within just that few minutes, I was able to show you connection, mapping your logical data into your navigation scheme, to modeling that data via Project Haystack tags, and now you can do things with it. We do have an open API for you to pump data to those analytic platforms if you want, or to AI tools. That's all documented in Swagger. We can help you with that if you need help with that, or if you have a development team who's familiar with APIs and how to write those kind of integrations. All that's documented. And like I said, we can work with people, however they want on that. So let's get into a little bit of our visualization tools that we provide on top of the data modeling tool set. So first we'll go into dashboards. So this is all, as Terry was saying earlier, very highly customizable. This is all React.js. And actually, let me go. I'm going to switch projects here to show you guys more in depth. Let's go into our Lynxspring office. So these are some of the options for dashboards. These are just a compilation of some of the chart options and things like that that you can use. So you can do text, you can do images, you can actually even embed videos in dashboard. So we don't have one here. We have all kinds of different gauging options. There's weather data. You can do these level gauges, horizontal, vertical. You can customize the way your lines work. So you have rounded lines or step lines. You can stack bar charts. You can do these fills where you have this nice gradient. You can even dashboard tables if you want to. Other things that are here that we are not showing at the moment, but there's donuts and pie charts and basically all the different charting options that you would normally see in this kind of platform we'll make available. On the roadmap for us, we're probably going to get into scatter plots, heat maps. So we'll just continue to build this out as time goes on. And then next, after dashboards, is templates. So templates are dashboards that are built for a specific entity. So for example, and I like to use VAVs. Let's say you have a building that's got 50 VAVs in it. You don't want to build 50 dashboards for each VAV. Instead, you want to build one VAV template and then recycle that template over and over and over. So that's what a template does. And it's currently set for, you can do this for sites, you can do this for equipment, you can even build templates for devices if you want. Here at the office in Lynxspring, we actually have 10 RTUs that sit on the roof. So this is pulling live data out of the Lynxspring office. So this is not demo data. But you can see here that the template, which was built for AHUs, in this case RTUs, is smart enough to recognize that I've got 10 other RTUs in the building. And rather than having to go through and rebuild all these over and over, I can just use that same template that I built once and then configure it. Also, I know you guys see it loading a little bit, but once you load it up once, it's cached. So you can see when I switch here, it'll come up pretty quick. So that's kind of the way the dashboards and the templates work. If you look over here, there's also a weather. So we have a NOAA weather service that we provide free of charge. We're tracking 2,500 observation stations across the United States and a few territories. We are looking at adding in Canada and potentially other weather stations from around the world. So if you come through here through our weather service and there's a particular observation station that's missing, just reach out to us, let us know, and we'll figure out a way to get that built into the platform for you, because obviously weather data is extremely important when it comes to things like energy analytics. And then some of our admin tools. Now, you only see this admin tool if you have a role that's high enough. So if you're not an admin user, you won't see this. But you can come in here, you can see your projects, you can see all the users, credentials. So this webinar credential, this is actually one of the ways that you set up that E2E connector. If I was back on the Prode Builder, you would see that these webinar credentials were plugged in there. You can use those on your devices to make connections and then segment the data to that specific project. It's a little more in depth for this conversation today, but if anybody wants to get a deep dive, we can kind of go through the more technical aspects of this and put that together for you. There's also a file manager. So this is how you get those images and videos onto things like your site records or things like your project. So when I came here, right, this is all being fed through our file manager. In the roadmap, we envision a day where you can, let's say you have a building automation system that is locked behind a firewall and there's no way to get the data out of that, but you have the ability to export that data to a file. You'll be able to come into the file manager, upload that data export, and then we'll parse that data for you and bring that data into E2E. Because one of the concepts that we touched on earlier was that E2E works with disparate data sources. So that's multiple building automation system types. That's utility data. There's all kinds of different integration options for you to bring this data in and use it. Now, obviously, Niagara is our wheelhouse, being Lynxspring, and we have our Niagara connectors that make it easy for you, but we do have the ability to integrate with other systems as well. So that's kind of where that file manager comes into play if you were stuck behind that firewall and you needed to get that data out. And I think that really kind of covers the 50,000 level of kind of what this looks like. Mark, you have any thoughts or anything you guys
Sure.
see?
Yeah, so a couple things. So, and I invite Terry and others to jump in on this discussion too. So, one of the unique things about E2E is that our Genesis Edge product line and our brand of JACEs have connectors built into them to E2E. Can you guys just jump in a little bit how those work and a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, I'm going to get Jake on here since he's presenting as well. But the Edge connector is built into the OS of all edges that go out the door in the story. We have a Niagara services we built, and we also have a site connector for multi connections. And the question always comes up: do I have to have a Genesis JACE to be able to connect? And the answer is no. That service can be put on any JACE with permission. So I want to turn this over to. I want to talk about a couple of things to address, and it can be open discussion. Is how do you connect? And number two, cybersecurity. One hasn't been brought up yet, but that's very big for us. So with that, Jake, you want to kind of jump in here? Is he still on? I think.
I'm not sure if he's connected. Oh, there he is. Good.
He's in.
Can you hear us?
Double check your audio.
Parker can answer this too as well.
Yeah, while he's
Sure.
doing it, go ahead, Parker. Let's keep us going.
You guys want to talk about the connectors?
Yes. That and cybersecurity.
Yeah. So from the cybersecurity perspective, of course, like Terry was saying, that's one of our main features and goals for us as we take cybersecurity very, very seriously. So what we actually have set up is the ability for certificate authentication, as well as those credentials that I was showing you in the UI. So to even be able to talk to the Lynxspring network from one of our devices, you're going to have the appropriate certificates, which, your devices are going to ship with that on them already. So in general, you don't have to worry about that. And then if it's a legacy device that's already in the field that you want to connect, we will present you guys with a service that can reach out and acquire those certificates for you appropriately. We want to make sure that we prevent bad actors from even gaining access to the network. So that certificate auth really makes it secure in a manner that you can't even get to this network without that from a device. And then on top of that, you have the credentials that you build with it. So we're actually kind of set up this dual layer of security. One is to get into the network, and then the other one is to authenticate into a project and to make sure that that data is segmented appropriately. And that will come on both the Niagara connector as well as the edge connectors. So for us, cybersecurity is always paramount. We're SOC 2 compliant. We're constantly going through penetration testing and making sure that we stay on the latest versions of all the security trends. So for us, we put a lot of effort into the security aspect.
So the way these connectors work, as Terry mentioned, they on the edge products, we embed it in the operating system, so it's present. It's still a licensed feature, but it comes with our standard license. So when you buy an edge device, that is there. On a Niagara device, so a Jace that's a non-edge device, we do provide a connector and same type of setup. It's still a licensed feature. We provide a username and password, kind of what Parker alluded to, but the everything is encrypted. We use certificate authentication. I apologize, to ensure that whenever we connect, everything is locked down, not easily duplicated at all. It's from a security standpoint, it's the safest way to provide any sort of communication. So, and we include that. So as far as the license feature, that's been standard on all of our licenses. So if you have an existing edge device and you want to enable this, we do have minimum versions that you have to be at, but whenever you request a new license, this will be part of that.
Thanks, Jake. A couple other questions that have come up in previous discussions, like we're doing today, is one of the many features is our device manager, device management. I wonder if Terry, Jake, Parker, can you guys just dive in a little bit about device manager? Parker, you did mention it in the demo, but just to go dive in a little bit further, because I personally think that is one of the coolest things that this platform is bringing to the table.
Yeah, Parker, go ahead.
Sure. So let me see if I can find, and this one I only have one device. Let me find out if I have more over here. Okay, and bear with me because these are offline because this is not a project that's been set up for this. But basically, what the device manager does is it provides this centralized location for you to view the information about all of your Lynxspring devices. You can get the information about, like I was saying, your firmware versions from Niagara, your operating systems. You can see information about the last time your station was rebooted. There's all kinds of different information here for you to kind of centralize the management of your fleet. So that's the main concept behind the device manager. And as time goes on, we're going to continue to expand on this. You do see a couple other sensors here that we've been working on trying to put together. There's MileSight. These are LoRaWAN sensors. This is stuff that are in beta, so that's not really out there yet. But what we like to do, and let me just open this up. So when you open up this front 534 edge, you're going to right away see information. There's the host ID, the serial number of the device, some information about the model. So here's that information about the station, the last time it was saved and rebooted. The network information. So this is that internal network that's inside of the building. And then information about the firmware and the operating system that sits on that device. So if you wanted to, figure out, do I have devices that are sitting in the field that are still at 4.8 or 4.10, but I need everything to be up to, 4.13 or something, you can get that information from here very quickly. Rather than have to go through and try to dive through device after device after device, you can just come to this field right here, our firmware field, sort it, and then figure out from top to bottom, where your devices are at for their Niagara, version. And then again, like I was talking about, some information about things like the CPU usage and memory usage. Let's say on those hardware metrics that we were talking about, the internal temperature. So your device goes offline. You need to know why. One of the first things you're probably going to do is take a look at some of the hardware metrics. And you notice that my internal temperature is, it's 180 degrees. It's been 180 degrees for 3 days. Somebody installed this device wrong is kind of the information that you're figuring out there, right? It's not ventilated. They're pumping too much electricity through it. Something's wrong in the internal temperature of the device. You basically burnt the thing up. So rather than having to drive there and figure that out, you can just sit here, because at that point, your pro builder or your station's probably not going to connect. So you need to be able to get that information a different way. And that's where you can get that information here in the cloud. So just reducing costs by diagnostics in the cloud in the centralized manner before you roll your boots out, before trucks start hitting the ground. So the device manager is a key feature like Mark is talking about. We are going to continue to build this out. Some things that we're hoping for on the roadmap is potentially remote connect capabilities, right? So you might be able to come into your device manager, remote connect to that device, and configure your station right here from our UI without having to jump around. Adding in potentially more information about devices that we're not getting. So can we get more information out of the IO? Can we increase our support for various device types, right? Like you saw the MileSight, where we're testing out some LoRaWAN stuff. So the device manager for us, we think, is going to be a key component to this data collection process, and then build those tools around that data modeling aspect.
Thanks, Parker. Just a couple more questions here. And this one, somebody just texted me. Can the platform accommodate growth in data volume and users over time without significant performance degradation?
Yeah, so this application is hosted in AWS currently. It uses all the most modern techniques. So we use serverless database nodes, which means that they can scale automatically. We can handle up to terabytes of data without data degradation. So scalability, availability, right? This is all part of the service that we provide. So large amounts of data are not a problem. We can parse that relatively quickly, and you'll be able to scale with this thing without needing to worry.
Great. And last question, Terry touched a bit on this in the beginning, but I think it's an important point to reiterate. The data, who owns the data, which continually seems to be a challenge in the industry. So Terry, let me have you answer this one. Who owns the data within E2E?
The customer. It's that easy.
That's simple. That's good. So
The-
yeah.
So, and that kind of a segue into, I kind of brushed against it is, first off, guys, everybody says, okay, so how do you market this or where do you go with this? It is an enterprise-based solution, software as a service. And as such, it's either owner direct or it can be through channel direct. If you're managing your customers' assets or something in between. It is a design build product in that when there is interest, there's first a design charrette where we will work with you to help you set up what your needs are. And from that, then the platform fee can be determined. But the one thing that all of our customers have said is, where is my data? The data belongs on the server that we stand up and dedicate directly to them. Whether they want to keep using us or whether they want to go somewhere else in the future, they own the data. It's completely normalized into a relational database that can be used by any application or analytic tool on the market today.
Wonderful. Thank you. And again, as we wind down here, I just want to send out a reminder for all those attending. Don't forget about Lynxspring's partner conference taking place in the wonderful city of Kansas City, September 29th through October 1 at the Intercontinental Hotel. Lots of information is available on the website. Obviously, we'll be going into deeper dives and presentations with E2E and many other subjects. So we do hope that you will join us there. And then on behalf of all of us at Lynxspring, we appreciate your time today and finding out a little bit more about E2E. And thank you. And do contact us at sales@lynxspring.com if you'd like more information or would like a more in-depth demo in which we can go into some more specifics for you. So without further ado, thank you and have a great day.